Hey folks, Drunken Homemaker here, and today I am going to be talking about my succulent collection. It's not, I think, probably as extensive as other people's succulent collections, but it is one of my favorite parts of my collection, so I did want to talk about it today. I did want to do a slight disclaimer. This is what my succulent collection looks like after the winter. I love the spring because it's usually when I start, making little succulent arrangements. But a lot of these succulent arrangements are like from possibly last spring. So they've been in their containers for a while. They're looking a little raggedy. And I'm going to be starting work on them pretty soon here. But yeah, this is like my favorite time of year because they all get fresh soil and I move them around. A lot of times I bring them outside for the summer so that they can get the light that they really do need most of the year, but they only really get during the growing season here. Yeah, I think all things considered, they're looking fairly good. I'm going to be honest. Some of them are really leggy. Some of them are not looking great, but I'm loving the way that they're coming out, all things considered. This year, I decided to put them right under that grow light. So they actually did a lot better than they have done in past years, which is why I'm very, very proud of what they look like right now. So a lot of my succulents, I'll talk about the succulents that are usually in this window ledge right to my right over here. They get a really nice amount of light throughout the day. The other thing, before I get into it, I wanted to take a moment and mention, because I hear this a lot from people who are sort of starting out with plants or are new to plants. They always say, oh, I'm terrible with plants. I even kill succulents. It's like, that's not hard to do. That's actually really, really easy to do. They require a lot of sunlight. They require careful watering. If you don't have them in pots that have drainage built in, you have to be very, very careful with them. Most of the pots that I have them in have drainage already built in. Some of them don't have drainage built in, and I'll talk about that when we come across it. I'm going to start with the succulents that are on this window ledge over here to my right. They get a lot of sunlight and they're very, very happy with the amount of sun that they get. This is a little teeny tiny arrangement that needs to be redone for this season, but it's so cute. It's like one of my favorites because it's got this beautiful, very delicate, I want to say that this is like, I feel like it's called Lolita, this Echeveria. And then there's I think it's the same one. It's just a slightly cooler tone down there. And it's just mixed with like some purplish blue sedums and some of the more reddish variety with green mixed in with them. And I'm going to be working on it this season to put it outside. And I might actually be moving it to one of these because I have plans for these guys. This little planter is something that I redo every year, and it always looks so good. And I'm going to be propagating these too because 'tis the season. There's actually really, really teeny tiny ones here that I'm going to get a close-up of that my friend Audrey, hi Audrey, my friend Audrey gave me years and years and years ago. They are the tiniest little succulents I've ever seen in my life, and they're so cute. And they're still super tiny, but they're doing really well. And I mean, she gave them to me, Audrey, how many years ago was that? Was that like 10 years ago? I can't remember, but I remember you giving me these little tiny succulents. And they're still here. I want you to know that I still have them. I think it's a miracle, but I still have them. They're still alive. And I'll get a close-up on this guy so that you can see what this guy looks like. But yeah, this one is just really, really pretty. I like the combination of colors. I think that the way that it's sort of combined is really pretty, really delicate, very beautiful pastel combination. Not the most probably design heavy combination. And there's a lot of detritus down there, but I think overall this is one of my favorite arrangements that I have. And it's just fun to do this with succulents. It's just fun to like arrange them every season and see how they fare. And this one I need to do a lot of cleanup on, but all things considered, it's done really, really, really well. So the next one that I'm going to talk about is the one that's sort of right next to that pot on the windowsill. So this one is just about all the same of a similar sedum that is very reddish. I don't know what it is, but I will see if I can find it, and then I will post the name of it here. And then it's got that really cute rounder sedum in it. So it's got mostly red tones with a little bit of the cooler tones in there. Doing really well. They're definitely leggy. I will be trimming these back a lot. So let me take advantage and show you the one that's in this. And this one's kind of in rough shape, but what I do every year is I just reset this one. I literally just cut the sedums. You see how leggy they are? There's a lot of detritus. This is, I think I got this at Wegmans 2 years ago. And it's one of my favorite pieces. I bring it out every summer and it sits on our picnic table. And basically all I do every season is I cut everything out. I take everything out. I put fresh cactus mix soil in there. And then I just stick in the cuttings from the previous year. And it does so well. This is one of my favorites, I think. And I'm pretty sure I don't water it very much in the winter time, which is probably why there's all that detritus. But that is something that I love about the succulents in the winter is that they don't require a lot of, I can count on one hand the amount of times that I've watered these succulents during the winter fall season. The last thing that is on that windowsill that I wanted to talk about is, I believe this is Burroughs Tale, if you're nasty. But look it. I found this little goblet, and if you've seen any of my videos, you know that I'm kind of crazy about these milk glass goblets. This goblet with Burroughs Tale in it is one of my favorite things in the world. I think it's so pretty. Yeah, this is one of my favorites. And some of the little Burroughs Tale like broke off, and it doesn't look perfect, but I find it to be so appealing in this. This I will not bring outside because it has no drainage. So if it were to rain on this arrangement, it would sort of drown the succulent. So that would not be good. But this one doesn't have any drainage. And I do find that there's a very small amount of succulents that don't mind it. Don't test that theory. But this one does really well, and it just looks really good in this little goblet. So I love the way it looks. This is also in that windowsill. This is just a nice little arrangement of like blue toned, purple, pastel type succulents that I really like, that are different types of sedums really. And they're doing really, really well. They're very leggy. They're not leggy. They're just, they've grown all season long and they're due for a reset. So I will be doing that in the next coming weeks, and then it'll look amazing. And then I threw like a little Burroughs Tale that had fallen off of that one. I just kind of threw in there. But yeah, that really kind of covers everything that's on that windowsill that's to my right. Let's talk about what's on the table directly behind me. This is a recent purchase. It was really just like, there was a garden center in my area. This is like weeks ago now. This is before, everything went to, what. They weren't in great shape. I basically just cut them back and started rooting them, but they weren't in great shape to begin with. This one's very, very leggy. You can see what leggy looks like with this one. It was very leggy. It's not looking great. Then there was these little tiny sedums that I thought would be really a cute addition to my collection. So I just cut those back, but they were really long and lanky, and I just basically cut them and then reset them in this type of arrangement because I figured in the next few weeks I'm going to be working on this. So I'll worry about it when the time is right. I just wanted to get them rooted. Well, at least some level of roots. It was just sort of for fun, and it was because I was bored and I was shopping around when I could do that. I miss it. All right. Anyway, directly behind me as well is this aloe. And this one is mixed. This one has like 2 different types of aloe. This one I got years ago in a Mountain Cress garden haul. And it's very cute, but it's gotten very weird looking. I don't know if it just wasn't getting enough water, if it wasn't rooted properly. The other aloes are looking amazing, and these are the types of aloes that I like. They don't tend to get too big. Aloes are kind of hit or miss for me because I feel like they can sometimes, the really big ones get a little too big, a little too overwhelming, and then they never really look good anymore. So I don't have a ton of aloe. But this one I like the look of. It just looks like your standard aloe. And it doesn't get so overwhelming. It gets a nice size, and then it throws out pups like crazy. And I really like that because then I can just fill out. And look how beautifully patinaed this terracotta pot is. It's so pretty. So yeah, so this one I really like. It's got to be watered. But this one, I like aloe because as long as you don't put them in like direct sunlight and they're getting a decent amount of sun, they do pretty well. That's how I feel about anything in the Crassula family too. I really like that. These are two arrangements. I'm going to show you the yucky icky one first. These are two arrangements that I made, I think probably either at the beginning or the end of last season. And I threw some sempervivum. I don't think sempervivums do very well indoors. They really, if you can put them outside, put them outside. First of all, they're really hardy. A lot of them are hardy down to zone 3 or 2. So I mean, their name is literally never dies. Like they do really well outside. So I brought them in because I didn't have room in my bird bath planter outside, and that was a mistake. Because they're not happy. They're alive. They will live. They will come back and they will do fine. But if you take a look at them, they're very leggy. They're not doing well. This one did flower. It was right under the grow lights, even right under, look at this sad little flower. It flowered and everything. So that one's I got to get rid of. But it's got a nice mix of some crassulas back here that are doing great. And so the crassulas, I think what I'm going to do with the crassulas this year is I'm going to take all of the crassulas out of these pots and put it in its own individual pot because I really love the way that they look alone. They look really, I don't know, there's just something, there's this tidiness about them that I really like. So I will be taking advantage of that and putting all of them together. There's also a different variety of crassula in here that I might continue to use in an arrangement like this where I just maybe cut it back. And you can tell because it's a different color. And there's a little bit of string of pearls in here, which are not very happy. This string of pearls is not the happiest. It's doing that Hershey kiss thing that lets you know that it's not happy. It's not getting enough water. And you know, I'm gonna try to put it outside, and it really does take off if I put it outside. And that's why I'm not too worried about it because I had the same thing happen last year. But other than that, this arrangement is due for a hard reset. You can tell it does not look great. This is one of my favorite arrangements. I think I talked about this arrangement in like the video that I made sort of this time last year. And you could tell it's starting to close up a little because it's not quite getting the amount of light that it needs. And that's sort of the problem with having a lot of succulents indoors is you really have to give them additional light. And you can see that I do have a grow light back there, but the grow light really needs to be a lot closer to the succulents for them to be happy. So that's something that I'm going to definitely be rectifying at the end of the growing season. I think I'm going to have to order another grow light. I got this one, I don't remember where, but it was really cute and it's really little. It's a cute little sedum. And again, I have a lot of jade. And I'm just thinking, how pretty would this jade look if it was just all in one of these little terracotta pots? Like, I just think it would look so pretty. So that's what I'm gonna be doing is and this is all the same variety, so I think it'll look really nice. And then I have some golem jade here that has seen better days. It's struggling a little bit. And then I have a different type of crassula up here that I don't know which one it is. I think it's I want to say that it's in the Mountain Crust unboxing video. And if it is, I will link it up here. Even if it isn't, I'm going to link it up here so you can see, because a lot of these succulents that I have are in that video. A lot of them were sempervivums that I put outside in a bird bath, in a plastic bird bath that did beautifully. It took off. It was amazing. And then a guy came into our backyard on Christmas Day. He was super drunk and he knocked it over, and I was really sad about it. He knocked it over and all my sempervivums are basically all over the backyard now. I have to redo that arrangement. I only have the bowl. He actually broke the bird bath, so the base of it is no longer usable. So I'm going to be revamping that, sort of just the little bird bath part of it, and just putting it somewhere in the yard. Yeah, it sucks. That's like a part of urban gardening that is not my favorite. So this is one of my favorite arrangements that is, it needs a little bit of a revamp, and it will get that this year. I'm excited about that. I showed you those two big ones. I showed you the aloe. I showed you the aloe. This is the jade that I got at Angle Acres. I'm just sort of trying to train it back into a tree. There was a lot of little guys that were sort of growing on the side, and I just wanted to train it back into looking like a tree. So I did put some ties on it to sort of tie it together, and I'm just gonna be trying to root it until it's really nice and sturdy, and then maybe just repositioning a little and making sure that it gets plenty of light so that any of the growth that it has coming out is sort of all in, you know, in the same direction instead of leaning to one side or leaning to the other side, because you can see that both of the trunks are sort of doing this weird thing, and that's why I have them tied together. But I mean, I've always wanted a jade tree, and this is so pretty. And I could, if I wanted to, I could like cut this and like reset it hard, but I don't want to. It looks so pretty. I had originally separated these two, but they were a little too top heavy to be good on their own. I had tragedy strike. The concrete planter that one of them was in broke, and I was really upset about it because my friend gave me that concrete planter. Sorry, Sarah, it broke, and I was heartbroken. So yeah, so this is what it looks like in this terracotta plant, and I'm loving it. I think it looks great. This is my string of bananas. He's not happy. He's not doing great. He's still got life left in him. I'm not worried about it. And primarily the reason that I'm not worried about it is because I've already propagated this guy. So this one needs a drink of water desperately. But what I found out recently, which makes a lot of sense for this plant, is that this plant really needs the base of it to have sunlight in order for the plant to thrive, which makes sense because he's kind of high up. I wanted to cascade him, and in doing so, kind of messed up the plant. I'm not worried about it because honestly, what I can do is I can trim a lot of this back. I can propagate a lot because it still has a lot of green growth on it. I can propagate a lot of this and then just stick it outside and it will come back. So I'm not worried about this. String of bananas is just very, very particular about the conditions that it wants during the winter time. And so this was my mistake, but also it sounds like it's a very common issue. So I'm not terribly worried about it not coming back. Also, I saw which way the wind was blowing weeks ago and I propagated it. So this is a planter that my friend Amanda gave me. I'm going to make sure to let her know that I made a video about her planter. So she can see she gave me this beautiful concrete planter. How gorgeous is that? It's so pretty. So I want to put this upstairs in my office. So what I did was I filled it up with some cactus oil. There's no drainage. But I think that this plant likes water enough that it's okay that there's no drainage, at least in my experiences. I've had pretty good luck with it. There's no drainage. I just basically a few weeks ago, stuck a bunch of cuttings in here. Some of them took, some of them didn't. I made sure to put a lot more than I thought I was going to need because as some of them start to die back, you know, it's not going to be that much of an issue. And then I will hang it up where the base itself will get a lot of sunlight. And you can see this is doing a lot better than the other one is. So, and I just put it in here for now while it's propagating, but I'm going to be hanging this up in the next few weeks. I actually ordered a bunch of supplies to hang plants and a bunch of macrame hangers because I kind of want to completely redo my space, and I'm super excited about that. But yeah, that's really my succulent collection. Let me know if you have any of the same ones that I do, if you do the same thing that I do and, you know, put your succulents out for the season. I'm really excited about putting these guys out. I think they need it. I think succulents just thrive, you know, as long as it's warm enough for them outside. They do really well. So yeah, that's really it for my succulent collection. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please click like if you like content like this. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell notification to be notified when I upload. As always, thank you for coming on this journey with me, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.